I was at the store the other day and I noticed a dad and his child, and they just seemed so happy. The little boy was holding his hand and they were excited. You could tell that it may been a while since they'd been together, and they were getting food and they were just so happy. And it just hit me like a ton of bricks. If that man is not saved, it doesn't matter what kind of father he is, how good of a man he is, he won't be going to heaven if he does not choose to follow God, does not choose to believe in Jesus. And then I thought, how many people do we see every day that are wonderful people, that are just, they help people, they do anything in the world, they spend a lot of money to help people. They will spend hours and hours like doing yard work free or buying groceries for someone who can't afford it. Such good people. But if they don't choose Jesus, if they don't choose God, to believe that Jesus died for them, they will not be going to heaven. Good works does not matter. And I believe that some people are so deceived. A lot of people, more than we believe, are so deceived into thinking that, you'll hear some people say, well, I hope I go to heaven. Maybe God will let me in. I've tried to help people. I'm a good person. And that it makes me sick. It gives me chills, but it makes me sick because so many people actually believe that. And that's so scary. Some of the best people that I know have known, I knew them to not be saved. And hopefully they are now, or hopefully, I would pray that they would choose Jesus. But we're not guaranteed another breath. We need to get out and make sure that we tell everybody we know about Jesus. Jesus. God, a lot of people say, I believe in God. It's not enough. Demons and Satan believe in God. Believing is not enough. You need to be saved. You need to believe in that sacrifice that was made so you could go to heaven. Before you're saved, before you go to heaven. And, praying for people and witnessing is all we can do, but that is so powerful. When you're doing all that with a willing heart, you plant those seeds, God will come along and he will make those seeds grow. A lot of that depends on us to spread his word. And we get rewarded, heavenly rewards. And I know I'm not saying that's what you're supposed to focus on, because God knows. God knows if we're doing it from our heart or if we're doing it for our own glory. But God wants to bless us, and one way that he blesses us is that feeling you get when you know you've helped somebody. When you know you've told somebody about God, you get that warm feeling, that feeling that God's tapping you and saying, I saw that. I see what you did. And, if you're too, not embarrassed, I don't want to say that, too shy at first, pray for God to give you the strength and the courage to go up and talk to people. But until then, wear clothes, wear jewelry, put bumper stickers on your car. Don't be ashamed of God. In the Bible, it says that if we are ashamed of Jesus, he'll be ashamed of us in front of God. He will turn away. And that means that if you are not truly a Christian, I'm not saying that means that you have to go out and verbally tell people about God. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that you won't go to heaven if you don't do that. I'm not saying that. But what I mean is, if you deny Jesus, if you are ashamed of Jesus, if somebody asks you if you're a Christian and you say no because you're embarrassed or afraid, or if somebody asks you, are you saved? If you're embarrassed of Jesus, he knows, and he treats us the same. We need to tell people, as many people as we can, because, you look around and you see all these wonderful people who are not saved, that are not going to be going to heaven if they don't choose God. It's scary because, the rapture could come at any moment, but our last day individually could be any moment also. And that's how we have to look at it. And pray for everyone and witness to as many people as you can. Because how sad is it to think that such good, wonderful people will not be going to heaven just because they chose the world. Maybe they didn't know how wonderful. Let them see Jesus through you. Let them see that light and that love. Because our actions speak way louder than our words, Christians. They do. And if somebody sees us glorifying God in the midst of a trouble, or just having a peace about us that's unexplainable, somebody says, why are you so happy? I don't know. God's the only reason. And He is that reason. And our actions draw more people to God whenever they see that you're happy. And it's because of God. I could talk about this forever. But try to think about that. Good works that does not get you to heaven. Good works doesn't get you. So if you know somebody that's a good person and they're not saved, pray for them. Pray for God to give you the words at the right time if you're nervous. And let Him speak through you. You won't even know what you're saying. God will do it. God will do it for you. But we need to be more aware. We need to have our eyes open and our hearts open. And be trying to win more people to God.